This is the 90-day LinkedIn engine that founders are using to turn LinkedIn into their number one source of inbound pipeline. So let's hop in right now. So first of all, you need to understand the main holdback of why LinkedIn doesn't work for you and for other founders as well. And it's not just a content problem. Most people are obsessing over the hooks. So it has to be perfectly 2 lines, or it has to have a certain word in it or something. Or maybe like the formatting has to have 3 bullet points, and then it has to have a contrary like ending that has a question in it to promote engagement. You need to be posting 5 times a week, 7 times a week. There's hundreds of things that people love to obsess over. And some of those things are legitimate concerns, but it's not the main holdback. So that's the reason that you, other founders, are maybe getting a few views, maybe getting a few comments, maybe even getting a few connections and new followers every single time you post. But none of it is actually turning into pipeline for your business. So I'm going to show you how to actually set up the conversion system behind the content to make sure it's turning into pipeline for your business. Nothing is getting left behind. No impression, no new followers getting left behind. It's all going down a funnel that's leading you guys to inbound pipeline naturally through this funnel that we're going to set up in 90 days here. So first of all, the numbers just behind this to show that this has worked. I know this is the case because we worked with 30 plus tech executives. I've done a bunch of mentoring as well. We've written over 3,000 authority posts over the course of these 90 days. And we've also generated over 6 figures in pipeline per month for our clients on average. So this means that we're not necessarily focused on how many posts we put out per day or per month. That doesn't actually matter to us. What we're concerned about is how many posts can we put out per month that are actually going to lead to upwards of 6 figures in pipeline per month. And then we optimize from there. So just to go over an example for you, we're working with a still founder at the moment. And in his first 30 days, he added over $250,000 in pipeline. He's also added over 700,000 impressions within that time frame. He also booked an intro with a $1 billion company that then signed on with them for their intro offer. That's just one case study here. Another case study is Lead Poet. They are an AI outbound lead gen tool, and we ran their launch in LinkedIn that it added in over 6 figures of pipeline and doubled their client base. And this is also under 30 days. Last one here is Carla at Power Offer Consultants. She closes multiple 5-figure deals from LinkedIn every single month. This is not just random. Like every single one of our clients is generating massive amounts of pipeline from LinkedIn. I promise though, it's not from posting more. It's not from getting your hook right. So let's actually dive into what is driving these results for these founders and see how we can actually do this for you. So there's 5 parts to this 90-day kind of content engine. The first is positioning. You have to define your niche, your offerings, your audience. If you don't know who you're targeting, if you don't know what the content is going to be about, if you don't know how you're going to set up your funnel, then none of it's going to matter in the end when you're just posting kind of off the hook, because most founders that we talk to, they just don't have time. So whenever they get 5-10 minutes, they run into Claude, they quickly prompt something. Maybe they have a little voice database trained on like some info that they've done like a voice recording on or something, and then they post it. There's no reason or strategy behind that post. It could bring in pipeline, but the founder has no idea why it brought in pipeline. And for the most part, it is not going to bring in pipeline. So you have to be clear on exactly who you're targeting, what your main offer is, who your main audience is that you're trying to reach out to. The second thing is your funnel. You have to actually map your conversion steps and offers. So if someone sees your post, what is the next natural step they take? Okay, maybe it's they click on your profile and you're hoping they connect with you. Okay, great, that's awesome. Now where? What happens next? Do you outreach them? Is there a call to action in the post that leads them to your website? Okay, what happens when they're on your website? How do they actually convert to becoming pipeline for your business? You have to actually map out the buyer journey Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. You're going to get impressions, you're going to get followers, but it's going to convert. It is going to convert at a super low conversion rate compared to if you have a natural funnel setup in place. It just naturally and logically makes sense to take that next step. That's what you need to focus on. The third thing here is your voice. You have to set your tone, your style, your messaging. Like I mentioned, like some people might have some sort of voice database where it's kind of trained on like some info about their company. Maybe like you threw in like your or your company's website copy, and it's like, okay, that's nice. It knows a little bit, but for the most part, people do not have this set up. So they're having Claude go. They're going into Claude. They're going to ChatGPT. They're saying write a post, make it sound human, and maybe it can sound a little more human, but it still has generic kind of AI like taglines, euphemisms, analogies, metaphors, whatever you want to call it, words unlock, synergy, stuff like that. And it just sounds awful. It doesn't sound like yourself. And it really just like, it really lowers the conversion rate on the content itself of, are you going to get a like from this? Is somebody actually going to continue reading? Because if they believe it's AI for a second and you outsource everything to AI, all the thinking, the posting, the formatting, they're not going to read it. AI is great, but you have to make sure your expertise and your natural voice is all throughout the content. So what you need to do here is actually make sure that you are setting up a voice database, trained on exactly how you talk. You need to making sure that you have your expertise on multiple documents, pull YouTube videos, pull prior 100 posts that you've posted. Please don't do like AI ones or any posts that don't actually like represent how you want to talk or that haven't performed, because you're just going to be creating more of that slop. And then anything else that you think would be valuable to making sure Claude or ChatGPT has as much info relevant to you and how you talk. That's the third step here. You have to have all that set up, because then we're going to start to create the content. So there are a few ways that we like to create content. I love to just be regularly on Twitter, because LinkedIn's actually like not a news up-to-date platform. It's really easy to pull like stuff that's trending on Twitter and relay it to LinkedIn, and people on there be like, okay, this is something new, I'm interested in this. A lot of the time, content that does well on LinkedIn needs to be something new. No one wants to read the same recycled 5 tips to increase your sales conversions. It's like, okay, nobody actually cares. It has to be new info. What is happening in the AI space right now relevant to your industry? Okay, pull maybe like a screenshot from a famous, or not, maybe it doesn't have to be famous, but new like trending article. Talk about what was in the article and then give your own opinion on it. That's how your content is more likely to go semi-viral. And the reason I say semi-viral is because we're not focused on going viral. We're focused on going semi-viral. And the reason for that is because semi-viral content only goes semi-viral because it's still only relevant to your industry. And the reason that we want it relevant to your industry is because then it can still convert. If it's viral, then for the most part, viral content is so broad, it relates to everyone. And that's why it goes viral. It's great, but we want semi-viral content because it goes decently viral, but it's still within your industry as a whole. So then everyone in your industry is actually going to read that, or I wouldn't say industry, in your ICP/industry is reading this and can potentially convert for you. That's the most important thing with your content. So finding trending things on Twitter is a great way to do this. Finding maybe new YouTube videos, maybe someone in your ICP that's a competitor that they just posted. You can use that angle and then create content around that. So that's kind of the number one thing. Number two thing is using like case studies, stuff like that. Occasionally just switching it in so that you can prove your competency. And the reason for that, obviously, is because if people don't believe that you can get your guaranteed kind of outcome, whatever you're promising within your offer, done, then they are not going to move down the next step of the funnel. The last thing here for the content engine is I believe in posting 5 times plus a week. Like I said, like the amount of times you post doesn't necessarily matter if you don't have this funnel set up, these first 3 things set up. But once you do have those first three things set up, then it does become kind of a volume game. You do want to put out as much volume as possible because now you have the entire backend set up properly to convert. But I wouldn't recommend doing over 7 posts a day if your posts are genuinely valuable. If you're treating it like Instagram, then you can post as many times a day as you want because it's just short form kind of fluff, I guess you could call it. But if you're putting out genuinely valuable posts every single day, max is 7 times. I like to do 5 times a day or 5 times a week for our clients. And that's kind of just the best ground to still be active, make sure the algorithm knows you are active on the platform, your posts are still going to convert, your audience isn't going to get bored. But 7 times, if you have the capabilities of doing that, also awesome. The last thing that I'm going to go over here is you need to have designs on the majority of your content. And when I say designs, it doesn't always have to be infographics or carousels that do take a lot of time. If you don't have a team for this, it's going to be kind of difficult to actually do this. Those do perform very well. But if you can even add screenshots, like maybe I'm just talking about this engine that I'm talking about here in a post one day, and I would just screenshot from this document that I'm sharing on this entire system. And that would work very well as well. Other things that you can screenshot are like Twitter posts that you want to attach your kind of opinion to or make fun of, whatever it might be. Other things that you can do are old videos. You can clip up your YouTube videos. You can go on interviews with yourself even and pretend like you're answering questions and clip those up. Lots of different angles that you can go about. But it is very important to have designs on your post because it basically just elongates your post on the timeline. So if you just have text, that's as much as people are going to see before they can scroll past it easily. If you have a visual attached, then it's like that much room for people to actually stop and not scroll on to the next post. So it makes a big difference in actually making sure that people see your post and they have to make a conscious decision to continue scrolling past it because it's so large. Like if it's just that small and people are just like, whatever, just waiting. Visuals also just perform better because people are visual learners and love to see visuals. So that's kind of the content engine. The last thing that I'll go over here is our engagement layer. And the engagement layer is daily commenting. Make sure you are commenting on all of the comments on your post. If you put out a post at 9 a.m., make sure you stay around for 30 minutes to an hour and get comments on every single one, respond to every single one of the comments on your post. That is going to push your post so much further. A little tip for you, if you have a team, have your team comment on your post. It is going to produce a much better outcome because the algorithm is like, oh, it's getting engagement. It must be a decent post. Let's push this further and see if this is a good post. So the more engagement, the more engagement you get early on, the more reach you'll get as a whole. Very important. And then also, we love to do at least 20 outbound comments a day for our clients. And just when I'm consulting people, make sure that they're doing a certain amount of outbound comments, 20 that being, to make sure that they're reaching new audiences, to make sure the algorithm, once again, is just happy with the level of engagement on the account and continues to promote our stuff. And then the last thing is for the engagement layer here is just making sure that you're monitoring your DMs. You're going to get a lot of pitches. It's true. LinkedIn kind of can be a slot fest. But if you're monitoring and getting to leads as quick as possible, you're going to make sure that your leads actually are going to convert in the long run. And especially if you have higher ticket offerings, this is very, very important to get to those as quick as possible and make sure that you're shortening those sales cycles because your sales cycles typically are longer on higher ticket offerings. So you need to lock in just like the first few weeks here of making sure that you get positioning done, funnel done, voice done, and then once those 3 things are set up in the first few weeks here, get it done as quick as possible. Then you just continue to run the content engine and the engagement layer here over the 90 days because that's when it really starts to compound. You've got the foundation set up that's properly optimized to go from impression all the way to conversion. Now you just need to get in front of those people, make sure you are getting impressions. Start feeding the top layer of your funnel. And then to go over kind of the 90 days and what happens after that, most people think that you will post and you will automatically get pipeline. And this is just not necessarily true as we kind of talked about. So we say run it for 90 days because within 90 days, that's when all of our case studies begin to happen. But if you just stop there and start posting randomly again, well, then that system is not going to compound. It's not going to actually turn into a consistent 6-figure plus pipeline from LinkedIn monthly. It's just not going to work that way. You can't just set it and then just coast the rest of the way. You continually have to be running this. So I like to say 90 days because that's kind of when that build goes out and you start to see results. But then the next 90 days, the next 180 days, whatever it might be, is just as important to continue seeing results. And once you obviously see those results in day 90, there's really no reason to turn back. But I do see a ton of people that are like, okay, we built the system, and they stop. It's like, well, what's the point of it? What's the point of stopping? Like, you just built the audience, you built up the algorithm. You can't stop. Once you stop, the algorithm stops promoting you. People stop viewing your post. They think you disappeared. And like I kind of have down here, most people are just watching you. They're not going to reach out for a few months potentially. They need to read a bunch of your posts, make sure that you can deliver on your service, your product. They need to know why your competitors are worse than you, or why they shouldn't sign with your competitors. They need to know a little bit about who you are, because let's face it, people buy from people. They don't want to learn from your company page. They want to get to know you and then feel confident in talking to you, reaching out to you, getting on the phone with you, buying from you. Same thing. So there are a few things that I can do for you here. The first is you can do it yourself, and I can do consulting with you. We run one call where we go over your positioning, your voice and expertise documents to make sure that's properly set up. We'll go over your funnel to make sure we map your buyer journey from impression to conversion. We'll go over how to create content, how to set up your content systems. And then we'll actually go over feedback in the future. You get 24/7 access to me via Telegram here. And we'll continue to kind of optimize, make sure that we're getting results on this. And you will run it yourself. The second thing, and I should mention before this, both the links will be down below to going forward with one of these things. The last thing that we can do for you is done for you. We, in my team, will completely turn your LinkedIn into your tech company's #1 source of inbound pipeline within 90 days, running this exact system I've just ran you through. Everything's done for you. You get content, funnel, posting, scheduling, analytics, anything you could possibly think of, commenting, done for you to turn LinkedIn, like I said, into your #1 source of inbound pipeline within 90 days. Not to mention that you're also just increasing your brand's presence, you're shortening sales cycles, and obviously bringing in pipeline to your business. Don't sleep on LinkedIn. Too many people are sitting around saying LinkedIn is a place that you can hire, it's corporate slop. That is absolutely true, but it also brings in multiple 6 figures of pipeline for my clients every single month. So if you are a tech company, stop putting it off. Reach out to me. Like I said, the link's down below, and we can get to this system, or building this system out for you guys as quick as possible. Make sure we're getting results and running this system properly for you guys without you having to do it yourself. So if that's something of interest, click down below. Like I said, if you have any questions in the comments, put them below. Happy to respond to them, help you guys out.